Alright, this is what I hate about dumb motherfuckers on the road. Because I got this person here just sitting in front of me. Blocking the goddamn path. Alright, let me get this motherfucker out of here. Get the fuck on up out of here. Season's greetings to you Negroes. You got a lot of people on the road here that really ain't got no business having a driver license. A lot of stupid people on the road. But anyhow, we have another situation that is taking place. And I'm talking about a shooting of a 12-year-old boy. I'm sure everyone has heard of it already. You know I'm normally late to jump on the scenes of these topics, but I figured I'd put my little 2 cents into it. And the young boy goes by the name of Tamir Rice, who was shot inside of a park for playing with a toy gun. Now, before I get into anything, there's really not a whole lot I can say about this, except that it's unfortunately another unfortunate tragedy that has taken place where another young black boy has had his life taken away from him. But for many of you that want to know why I hold black women accountable and why I ride on them the way that I do, these are just some of the reasons why. There's several different reasons. Now, I know the typical things that black women are going to say to me to try to get themselves or wiggle their way out of this situation. Keep these damn blinkers on. And they're going to say things like, well, the black man is not in the household, and et cetera, et cetera. And if black, it's easy to just blame the women, but you don't have the men in the household. And I get that. But that's a subject for another video. We're not going to get into that one here. We can discuss that at another time. The issue that bothers me when it comes down to these circumstances, and this is why I hold black women accountable and why I hold them or say the things that I say about them, because she has been in this position of leadership for quite some time. She has been the one leading the household, and like I said, she's going to come back to me and tell me that, it's black men's fault as well for not being in the household. And yeah, that is true for black men not being in this household. But what this shows you, and this is the point that I'm trying to conclude here, is behind you, and since the black man is not there, you have, as far as your leadership shows, what that would show or what that would put to the test now is how good your leadership is. And what this blatantly shows is blatant failure once again. And this is what I've been trying to tell many of these Negroes time and time again, is that at some point or another, you're going to have to tell this black woman that you need to take a seat in the passenger seat, that we don't need you in the driver's seat, because behind you being in this position of being a leader, this is what is taking place. And what you're seeing is another example of black people simply not using their fucking head. When I say you or turn, you got a vessel that's located in the upper cavity of your head, and it's called the brain. At some point or another, you Negroes need to learn how to turn that on and get it functioning at all 4 cylinders. You see, the problem with many of you Negroes is that the engine is running, but there's nobody behind the wheel. And this is I'll let you know what I mean when I say this. Because this situation with Tamir Rice was completely avoidable. Just like the situation with Michael Brown, which was completely avoidable. Now, I don't know the full details of this because I haven't been on social media or on TV lately. I just been getting bits and pieces. But I'm gonna almost be certain or conclude that Tamir Rice has been raised by a single mother. And this is the question that I try to ask these single mothers You black queens that you know, y'all are goddesses and etc. This is the foolishness that comes out of the Negro's mouth on a regular basis. So I got a question with all the queens and the kings that we're supposed to be. At what point in time do you wake up, and it's like I said, many of these Negroes cannot analyze their environment. They can't put two and two together. They cannot put together puzzle pieces. And this is why they find themselves in these, you know, just overall stupid situations. Now, once I get more details on what took place with the cop getting shot, I'll more than likely make a video, you know, giving my opinion or my perspective on what I think as far as the cops are concerned. I'll probably do a separate video on that altogether. But this is the point that I'm overall trying to get at here. Because if black people already understand that black men particularly are at a disadvantage, and with all of these events that have taken place, time after time, back to back, within a matter of 4 months, within all of these situations that have happened, you gotta ask the question, this is where I say at some point or another, you weak, soft, lame-ass black men who love to attack other brothers because you don't agree with some things that they say, but we're not the ones responsible behind this shit that you see that's going on now. When do you actually deal with this? Because the common sense thing would figure, if you understand that black men are already at a disadvantage and are stereotyped here in this country, then why, for the life of me, I can't figure this out and I can't put my finger on it. Why would any loving, caring mother think that it is a reasonable idea to now give her son a toy gun and allow him to go outside unsupervised with this toy gun that looks real and now run around and play in the park by himself with it? Why? I mean, what parent thinks like this? Now, if this young boy had a father in his life as well, it is the same thing that I've been saying about a lot of you weak-ass, lame-ass black men, that many of you Negroes don't even serve no purpose in the household because it's like having two damn women raise that child. But the question once again remains, at what point in time do you conclude in the back of your mind, right after the Michael Brown verdict or the no indictment for Darren Wilson, shortly after Eric Garner was murdered, shortly after you had another black man who was shot down in a Walmart for having a toy gun, shortly after Michael Brown was shot down for, I mean, whatever people's opinion or whatever they draw behind it, I mean, that's for a different video. But within all of these events that take place, you have to ask the question, when do Negroes finally use that vessel upstairs at the top of your head called a brain? When do you turn that shit on and start analyzing? This is why I say many of these Negroes, they can't analyze the environment that they're in. They have no clue of where the fuck they're at. I mean, these Negroes can be in a, you know, they could be surrounded by a wall of flames and they wouldn't have no clue where they're at. They wouldn't know. And they would think that it's okay, yeah, just, you know, let me throw some gasoline down. That's how insane these Negroes are. Because a lot of these situations, when you think about it, are avoidable. But since these Negroes don't have no common sense, since they don't think, you have these single mothers who are in the leadership, leading position, in a leadership role, raising these black boys, and what this shows you is that your leadership has failed, that you cannot successfully raise a black boy to be a man. And at some point or another, and this is why I got to say this, because I can only draw two conclusions behind this. Either conclusion number one, either you're that damn dumb and you can't figure out how to properly raise your child and keep him from making bad decisions that lead to him getting shot up by police officers, or number two, you just don't give a shit. I mean, these are the only conclusions that I can draw behind this shit. Because like I said before, nothing about this even remotely makes sense. I mean, this shit has been going on since the early 90s. So when do you Negroes start to wake up and put two and two together and say, you know what? I'm not going to have my child out here running around with toy guns with all this chaos going on. That's just not going to happen. I'm not going to have my child out here in the park unsupervised, you know, shooting a BB gun and pointing it at people. This is the problem with black folks. You know, single mothers and you weak-ass, lame black men. You don't know how to analyze your environment. You don't have long-term thinking, because if you had long-term thinking, you would know that this is just something that we're not going to do. If you had objectives and agendas, you would know better than even make these dumbass choices in the first place. This is a matter of blatant fucking stupidity. And this is why you hear of all of these unfortunate tragedies that take place amongst black men and young black boys. Because they don't have a set of parents that are actually that give a fuck enough about them to keep them from even being put out in these situations in the first place. I mean, it's simple. With Michael Brown, you look at his mother. You would figure at some point or another, his mother would have had that talk with him, and this is not even a month after Eric Garner was choked out by police officers. And she'd have had a talk with him, telling him, listen, don't get involved with cops like this. No, that's not what they do. And then here you have this situation with Tamir Rice. You would figure his mother would tell him, listen, I'm not going to have you out here running around with toy guns because it's too dangerous for you. You as a young black man, and the problem is police officers, they're not trained to you know that bullshit you see in the movies, them shooting you in the leg and with rubber bullets and stupid shit. You Negroes need to get that shit out of the back of y'all's fucking mind, because they're not trained to do that shit. They're trained to kill your black ass. If they feel for whatever reason they are under a threat, they will kill you. But now, one of the reasons why this happens, and the thing is, if you want your little boy to play around with guns and have him a good time and the time of his life, then you get him a fucking video game system and you let him play Call of Duty or some Gears of War and you let him have it at that. Because at least we know behind you playing a video game, can't nobody come and shoot your black ass. But since black parents don't goddamn think, they believe whatever reason, and it also has to do with many of them not wanting to actually supervise their damn children and being actively involved in their child's life. These are the reasons why I hold black women accountable. And the saddest part is, many of you Negroes have absolutely no goddamn culture. You know, there was a video I did some months ago over the, I believe it was back in the early summer of this year, and I was around the Puerto Rican festival. And many Hispanics didn't like the fact that I made that video. Many of them were irate with me behind me making this video. And not too long ago, I had a Hispanic man come to me, and he posted some comments on the video, and at first he was upset with some of the things that I was saying in the video. And then we had a bit of an exchange, and he told me, you know, the problem is, and he was telling me, listen, man, you're jealous. This is what he told me. You're jealous because Hispanics have culture, and blacks, you Negroes, don't have any damn culture. And I said, listen, man, if that's what you're thinking, or that's the position that you're running with, then you completely missed the point of me making this video. And I told this man, I said, listen, I will concur and agree with what you're saying about blacks not having any goddamn culture. And the reason why I'm saying that is to say this here. Because this is right. He's right. Unfortunately, he's right. Many of you Negroes have absolutely no goddamn culture. This is why you find young black boys out here playing around shooting fucking toy guns and getting involved with stupid shit that puts you in a target. You know, the problem with black folks is that they put themselves in a position where they could be targeted. And they believe that, well, you're not supposed to target me. I mean, once you understand the overall bottom line and the overall outcome and understand worst case scenarios, when you think like I do and you alleviate gray areas and you think in only black and white, you don't stop to measure out that bullshit. You stop to worry about the concern and safety of your own damn child. Yeah, it's against the law for somebody to randomly do what they do, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and take a chance putting my child in that situation. But this is black folks for you. Since they don't think, they think things are supposed to bend for them, even though when the outcome clearly shows them that shit ain't going to change for your black ass. And the thing is, the reason why I say you weak-ass, lame black men are going to have to realize that people who make some videos that you disagree with or some opinions that you disagree with is not your overall problem, and let alone even something that you need to remotely waste your time dealing with. It's because at the end of the damn day, you have to deal with who's the one that's in the leadership position. Now, I'm not holding or placing the blame on this solely on the shoulders of black women. But black women play a major role in this, and they have been used as a tool to perpetuate this fucked up, vicious cycle of what has been going on. And black women, once again, let me go ahead and just make this perfectly clear. There's no way I can be talking about all, so I don't want to hear nobody coming to me saying, well, it's not all of us. I know it's not all black women, but I gotta hold a large majority of them accountable. Because so many of these sisters are so hell-bent for power, so hell-bent to be dominating, to be controlling. I can do it better. I mean, since they bought onto this feminist movement that was a white woman issue, and they've drinking this from this cup, they are under the impressions that they can do it too. And now you have them in positions of leadership roles where they don't know what they're doing and where they are making terrible choices. And you have young black boys primarily who are being affected by this, where their lives are ending. Because for the most part, they can't fucking think. And I find it funny because many of these sisters classify themselves as leaders, but when you ask them, who are you getting your leadership or your guidance from? And I'm going to tell you where you're getting them from, and it's the same thing I've been saying for the time and time again in most of these illustrious videos, is that many of these sisters are getting their guidance from these churches. And just like you Negroes sit back and y'all get your guidance from these black civil rights leaders who don't give a fuck about you. And it's pretty damn simple, because you have an abundance of influence, and this is something that I'm starting to put 2 and 2 together and understand. You have an abundance of influence in the black community that is not using the influence that it has to actually better the black community. And I'm gonna have to do another video on this and go a little deeper into the topic with this. But with all these churches, I've been saying this, and I said this in a most recent video. What does Jesus, God, the Bible, and something that happened 2,000 years ago help black men, particularly now within 2014 going into 2015? How does it help you? If you Negroes can't realize this and y'all continue to give them a pass, then I'll tell you this much. You look at it from this perspective. If you work on a job and your job is to be a supervisor or a manager and to make decisions and make choices to guide that company into a better path, if your decisions that you have been making are not helping, it don't matter what your excuses are. That company's gonna get rid of your ass. They're not gonna deal with you because you're useless. And it's simple. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if your ideas and strategies and plans don't fucking work, guess what? We have no use for you, and we can't afford to have you here because you're a liability to us. Behind you being here making these fucked up choices, guess what? Our company will soon go out of business. This is what you Negroes are gonna have to wake up and realize. At some point or another, you are gonna have to have a set of fucking balls and check these black churches that sit in your damn community that don't do not one fucking thing of legitimacy. Y'all gonna have to step up and check that, and you're gonna have to tell these damn churches, either you start putting out some information that's gonna benefit us, that's gonna help us with dealing with these situations, or you pack your shit up and get the fuck out and stay in your house out in the suburbs. You weak ass, lame black men are gonna have to have a set of balls, and you're gonna have to check these beloved women that you love so much that you will never confront, i.e. your mothers, that many of you Negroes know are responsible for fucking up your goddamn lives. But y'all won't check them. Your girlfriends, who many of you Negroes know don't give a flying fuck about you because she's too busy worshiping that black pastor and these black churches and God before she gives any fuck about your stupid black ass. You gonna have to have a set of balls and check this shit, and you gonna have to tell these black pastors, like I told you, if you ain't gonna do nothing useful in this community, get the fuck out. You gonna have to check these sisters and tell them, listen, your leadership role has not helped us. And like I said, it's like this. It's pretty simple. If you don't know how to raise, and well, any black woman should understand this, or any woman should understand this, that I can't raise a boy fully to be a man and think like a man and process and comprehend shit like a man. So I'm going to have to go out and find sources that are going to be able to give you the stuff that I can't do for you. I'm going to have to go out and find that, whether it be a Big Brother's program or whatever the case may be. But I might do that in another video. Anyhow, like I said, at some point or another, you weak ass, lame, soft, simple-licious black men, you buttermilk biscuit lames, soft and steamed up in the middle, y'all gonna have to check y'all beloved sisters that y'all love so much. And y'all gonna have to confront them and tell this female, listen, we need you to take several seats in the passenger seat. We need you to get out of the driver's seat, turn the engine off, take the keys out of the ignition, and get the fuck in the passenger seat. Because behind your leadership, this is the detriment that has taken place. And I mean, you can go through numerous different examples of all of the leadership that takes place in the black community, i.e. Barack Obama being a black president. And black folks are more fucked up than they've ever been within this day and age. Because I can lead the horse to water, but I can't make you drink. Because if you watched the channel before, you realize this channel is in the defense of those who think logic and those who make sense.